The Punisher, the most iconic killer in the Marvel Universe. Whether you love him or hate him, he has fought some of the craziest villains inside of Marvel Comics. And in the video today, we'll be covering 10 of the Punisher's top villains. If this is the kind of content you enjoy, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button because all we do every day is cover the Punisher videos. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you can be notified when I make new Punisher related content. With all that out of the way, let's get straight in to this top 10 list. Number 10, Hitman. Hitman is one of the oldest characters in Punisher history, as he was one of the very first characters that the Punisher encountered in one of the original stories featuring Frank Castle the Punisher. Hitman was a character that was hired alongside Punisher in order to carry out a hit, but whenever the Punisher found out the nefarious deeds of the supervillains, he turned on them and helped Spidey defeat them. Number 9, Elite. Now, Elite isn't your typical supervillain, as he is kind of odd, posing as a superhero himself sometimes to quote-unquote clean up the streets and where he lives. However, Elite is kind of a douchebag that thinks everyone who is not rich is just the scum of the earth. As one of the most basic villains for the Punisher, we're dropping him here at number 9. Number 8. Bullseye. Now, many of you know that Daredevil and Frank Castle have crossed paths many times in the past, and they have faced off against Bullseye. But in this 5-part miniseries, there is a comic devoted to Bullseye versus the Punisher. I'm not going to give the whole story away, but essentially someone decides to hire the most merciless assassin in Marvel to kill the most dangerous man in Marvel. In this miniseries, they decide to pit Bullseye against Frank Castle for a simple bounty, but it ends up being much more than that by the 5th issue. Number 7, Bushwhacker. Bushwhacker is a crazy villain just because he has the ability to grow different things out of his body to use as weapons. Now, Frank Castle has been able to take down the Bushwhacker, but of course he's given him plenty of trouble in the past. He is an imposing figure with very large arms, and of course reminds me a little bit of the Russian. Number 6, Kingpin. Now, of course, all of you guys know exactly who the Kingpin is, but just for those of you who for some reason don't but clicked on a Punisher video, the Kingpin is the kingpin of crime in New York City, and of course he encounters Frank on many different occasions, and of course has been killed by Frank in many different storylines. The Kingpin sometimes has superhuman strength and some degree of invulnerability, making him a tough challenge for the Punisher to fight, and of course this is a shared villain with characters like Daredevil and Spider-Man. Number 5, Jigsaw. Now, this is of course a classic villain for the Punisher. Jigsaw has always been in each story that he faces the Punisher, no matter which variant it is, been some kind of mutilated by the Punisher and then put back together. Always seeking his revenge on the Punisher, Jigsaw has constantly gotten in his way and tried to thwart the Punisher's efforts. Number 4, Thanos. Now, this one's a little weird. You're like, Thanos and the Punisher, a street level vigilante superhero-ish character versus a cosmic deity almost. And yeah, it's a little odd. However, in this particular storyline, the Punisher becomes a cosmic Ghost Rider and actually has to battle Thanos. And over again, he keeps trying to reset a way to keep Thanos from doing what he does, but eventually just raises a baby Thanos and screws it up anyways. Cosmic Ghost Rider is a trip. Number 3, Robert Helgard. Robert Helgard is a crazy character, as he is one of the people responsible for Frank becoming Franken-Castle, a Frankenstein-like monster from a very cool story arc where Frank Castle is killed and then brought back to life and helps a bunch of supernatural creatures in the underworld. However, Robert Helgard is one of the people who helped get Punisher killed and rebuilt. Number 2, Oliver. In a story where Frank Castle becomes an angel himself to some degree and starts taking out demons instead of people with some heaven guns. Yes, the story can't get any weirder. Oh wait, it can. Oliver is the villain for this particular story, manipulating the events as a head demon, and Frank Castle has to take him down. Nothing is cooler than an angelic Punisher versus demonic forces. And before we get into that number one spot, let's talk about an honorable mention, Barracuda. Now, Barracuda has had a few cool storylines, but the reason he's here at the honorable mention is because he has not had enough really for me to mention compared to some of these other characters. However, he is just as brutal as the Punisher, if not crazier. Literally will not stop fighting no matter how damaged he is, even one time having his fingers and eye removed by the Punisher and still wanting to fight him. He constantly comes back to the Punisher to get revenge and his payday. Now guys, of course, if you've been enjoying this video, like and subscribe. It would really help out the channel, especially because this is a newer channel of mine. I really need those likes to get this video spread to more people. And of course, comment down below on who your favorite Punisher villain is. Number 1, the Punisher himself? No, the Punisher, Carlos Cruz. Now, there was a time when the Punisher actually got locked up for a lot of the stuff he was doing, and he was going kind of nuts. So Micro, his tech, his computer aide, basically got him locked up and then replaced him with a new Punisher. Carlos Cruz wore a very defining mask with the Punisher logo put right on it, and of course, he used different tactics than the Punisher to get rid of his problems. Now, why is he a Punisher villain if he has been acting as the Punisher? Essentially, Carlos mistakes the Punisher, Frank Castle, for doing some villainy, and Carlos Cruz goes after him, leading to a pretty climactic battle between the two. Now, this isn't based off of power, but just irony that the Punisher's ultimate villain for himself had to be, well, kind of himself, as Carlos is a reflection of what the Punisher could be. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoy Marvel Comics and Punisher content, you should definitely subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss when I make new content. And of course, if you're interested in seeing some more, and of course, if you want to see another Punisher related video, there will be one right here.